Hello and welcome to The Print. I'm Sagrika Kisu with my colleague Mohammad Hamad, and right now we are at Indira Gandhi National Centre for Arts to interview photojournalist Ashish Sharma, who has recently launched his new coffee table book, Reimagining Jammu and Kashmir. The book takes you through the stunning landscape of Jammu and Kashmir while also navigated through the religious landscape of the Union Territory. What is pertinent to note that the book aims to capture what it calls the resurgence of Jammu and Kashmir post 2019. Welcome to The Print, Ashish. Before we start, Ashish, I wanted to ask you what went into the making of this book. How many years have you put into it?
So Sagarika, I started my work in 2019. So approximately 2020, that's when I, started working on this book. And there are a couple of landscape pictures which I've taken in the past. So I was born and brought up in Kashmir.
We will be coming to that.
Yeah. So I was born and brought up there. So that was one reason to, come out with a book like this. And 2019 onwards, I have traveled extensively to Jammu and Kashmir, particularly to the Jammu region, which was, which has not really come into the news. Yeah. Places like Bhadarwa, Kishtwar. So I traveled to some of the destinations which are not very well known. Matlab, people haven't really gone there. So that was the whole idea, to come up with a compilation which shows the diverse, Jammu and Kashmir. That was the whole idea.
This takes me back to your roots. Right. You were born and raised in Kashmir, right, but your ancestral roots are in Maharashtra. Mm-hmm. So can you tell our viewers a little about how your family came to Kashmir and how your family settled in Kashmir, and then also, because since you were born and raised in Kashmir, you have also seen the upheavals of the time in Kashmir. So tell us a little about yours.
So it's a fifth generation in Kashmir. I'm the fifth generation. My dad was born and brought up in Bijbehara, a place called Bijbehara. There's a temple there where he was born. And that's at least what he told me, that, it's our fifth generation, and we came during Maharaja Gulab Singh's time. So, and, we were the Jagirdars. So when the land reforms happened and things changed and life changed. So it's our fifth generation, and my mother comes from Ramnagar, a place in Udhampur district.
Oh, so your mother is from Udhampur, your father is from Maharashtra.
Yeah, my father is from Maharashtra.
Currently you have a house in Kashmir?
Yes, I have a house in Kashmir, very close to Lal Chowk. There's this image over there. And barely like 500 meters from the spot where I was born. And I studied in Bisco. And in 2009 actually, that's when I moved out.
So it's a little a question. It's quite a personal question that I'm going to ask you. That is a departure from the photo book, but also as somebody whose family has come from Maharashtra and lived in Kashmir, and who recognizes himself as a Kashmiri. How do you see Kashmir over the years? Because your book has also tried to capture that. And in your book, as I've mentioned in the intro also, that your book, you say that it is the resurgence of Jammu and Kashmir, revival of the Jammu and Kashmir. In the foreword, Governor Manoj Sinha writes, it's the winds of change are blowing through the, and you also say somewhere in the introduction that revival is blooming across Jammu and Kashmir. So talk a little about that. What kind of revival are you talking about?
So while I was growing up, so I grew up at a time when insurgency was at its peak. So this was not the situation what we see now. Like the image of Lal Chowk, that really defines the situation for me. It's not just tourists, but locals in the Lal Chowk. So that is something that we did not see. I grew up, there were strikes, cross-firings and whatnot. I've seen encounters literally from my window of my house, like Press Information Bureau building, which was blown up by militants. Like, I think back in somewhere in 2000s, I don't remember the exact dates, but I have seen these encounters, blasts, and everything. Most of these encounters and blasts used to happen around Lal Chowk and all the square. Be it the Maisuma, be it this area, stone peltings. I was someone who did not attend school regularly. There was some or the other strike which used to happen every second or the third day. So that has not been the case after 2019, I feel. 2019, I feel. So that has not been the case. So that is the change for me. Be it, the children in Jammu and Kashmir have gone to school regularly, particularly in the Srinagar region. So that is the bigger change, I feel, which has happened.
And what stood out for me in this book was that you have also tried to show Jammu in its in different colors, you know, because whenever we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, internationally also and also nationally, the focus is mostly on Kashmir.
Right.
We somehow fail to recognize Jammu.
So visually, people haven't seen Kashmir, Jammu.
Yeah.
Like Vaishno Devi, people have not seen that in visuals. So that was the whole idea. Like there are some beautiful places in Jammu, like I mentioned,
Bhadarwah, you have captured
Yeah,
Bhadarwah.
yeah. So Bhadarwah, Kishtwar, I have traveled to all these places. Like Rajouri and Punch, again the landscape is so nice.
Yeah.
So that was the whole idea to come up with the compilation. So
And
when
this behind us, I'm sorry to cut you in between, this is the young artist of
Basholi.
Basholi in Kathua.
Yes, Basholi in Kathua,
Yeah.
which also got a GI tag recently. So these artisans, you know, there are some beautiful, about 10, 15, 20 artisans who continuously work on these paintings every day. I met all these 15, 20 people in several locations. So this was something very new to me. Even I did not know about this Basholi painting, which was so famous. There were so many things which I later on discovered, you know.
Yeah, while working
While
on
I
this.
was, exactly, even I did not, as a Kashmiri, while I was born there, I did not travel to all these places. So it was only after when this book project came in my mind, that's when I traveled to all these places.
So, Ashish, tell me a little about this photograph. This is spectacular. This church in Kashmir, in Gulmarg, not many know about it. And you have captured this photo in its full glory. So, can you tell me a little about when was it clicked? What was in your mind when you clicked this photo?
So I was actually traveling for a story to Kashmir in 2012. And this St. Mary's Church, it's a Victorian architecture. And this only came into limelight, you know, after Instagram came in, social media, and a couple of movies have been shot recently here. So it's only after that, you know, this churches came into limelight. But otherwise, it's in a very quaint and a quiet area, and it's really nice. And the best time would be January to March,
When it's
it's all covered in snow.
There is a mini Goa in Jammu, and
Basholi.
yeah, but
So this is one image which is from that area.
so this is also from Jammu.
Jammu. This is again Jammu region. And this image is of Ranjit Sagar Lake. And this was shot in one of the sunsets sometime last year.
Now I am coming across this magnificent bridge that was recently inaugurated, and you have already captured it. So talk a little about when it was clicked, and little about this bridge also, because since your book talks about the revival of Jammu and Kashmir post 2019, so what role this bridge has to play in that?
I think this bridge holds a very important significance, since it's now going to connect Kashmir to the rest of the country. And this image was shot in 2024, while I was traveling extensively in the Jammu region, Riyasi and all those places. That is when I photographed this bridge. And I think it's an excellent engineering marvel. It is like next level of engineering that has been done.
Just for our viewers, that this is also Jammu. This is the Chenab region of Jammu. We are also focusing on Jammu because whenever we talk about Jammu and Kashmir, I don't know why Jammu is always missed. It is sidelined. It sort of keeps lurking in the background.
And this is another image that I want to show you, which is from Udhampur district. This is of Surinsar Lake. Yeah. So there are lots of places in Jammu region which are unexplored, unheard of. But recently, with the social media, with government also promoting all these tourism places, they have come into limelight.
Another thing that stood out for me in your book was that you have not only captured the mountains, beautiful landscape of Jammu and Kashmir, but you have also captured the religious landscape of Jammu and Kashmir. You have captured Shankaracharya on the one hand, on the other side you have captured Chhatti Pachta, you have also captured Hazrat Bal. So talk a little about the religious landscape of Jammu and Kashmir.
So Jammu and Kashmir is all about Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, Isai. So everyone has been living in harmony. There have been incidences, but it's all about living in religious harmony, and you can see that in all these pictures. So there's Chhatti Pachai, there's Hazrat Bal, there is Shankaracharya, there is the St. Mary's Church. There are a couple of other pictures which you'll also see in the book. Yeah. So I have tried to capture all those cultural aspects in the book. So there's a separate section that has been given.
Let's talk a little about Lal Chowk, because you were talking about Lal Chowk there in the photo, this photograph. You were saying that you live just 50 meters away from.
Just 300, 400 meters from this place. And I've seen Lal Chowk in protest, in strike, in curfews. So Lal Chowk had this, a cliche of, it has become that cliche spot where everyone used to go and take pictures of hartal strikes, but now it's bustling with life. And it's not just tourists, you can see locals taking pictures. And this image was shot after a police band was actually performing in the Lal
Yeah,
Chowk.
I saw that
It's
photo.
very unusual to have activities like this in Lal Chowk.
And you somewhere in the book also mention while mention about the nightlife in Jammu and Kashmir, in Kashmir especially, that the nightlife has.
There's another image, you can see that in the book, in the smart city section. So there's an image of Jhelum riverfront.
Yes.
So even if you go to Kashmir, you can see people actually sipping coffee late in the night. So that is something very new to us. Otherwise, while I was growing up, 6 o'clock, we used to be in our home. So that is something which has changed. That is a bigger change for me personally. We did not go out or step out of these places. So at least, in the last couple of years, I was able to extensively travel. That is one reason. So this is Raghunath Mandir. Raghunath Mandir. This is Raghunath Mandir. But here you get that different feeling of.
So there is also Bhadarwa, because not lot. I saw somewhere Bhadarwa and Poonch. So not many know that Bhadarwa and Poonch are again the districts of Jammu region, and the author of this book has travelled extensively in Jammu and Kashmir to capture the, as I say, stunning landscapes, and also to navigate and capture the religious landscape of Jammu and Kashmir post 2019. So this is a Nandihul waterfall in Poonch. Ashish, tell me a little about this. How you got to know that I should go there? Had you been here before?
No, I've never been to Poonch and Rajouri. This was my first time ever that I traveled to Poonch and Rajouri. So it was in year 2022, 23. That's when I traveled to all these places. And this image particularly was shot in 2022 in the winters.
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah. So this is Nandihul waterfall again, while it's frozen in its all glory, I would say.
Not only mountains and religion, you have also captured art and culture. So this is one of those pictures. To tell me a little about for our viewers, what is it?
So this images of the artists. They are hand embroidery. They're making hand embroidery rugs, also known as namdas in Kashmir. So this image is actually from Srinagar. And when I went to this spot, it took me back into time. If you look at the TV, it feels like it's a BPL. I think Onida or BPL, one of those. It took me back into time. It felt like I've gone back into time, and all these walls and everything were made with mud and everything. So even these faces, I think these faces have been gonna vanish in a couple of years because nobody wants to continue all of these. So
it's
all
a lot
these
of extensive
and there's a lot of character in these people. So there's a lot of character in these people.
Two photographs here, a woman in Gurez sitting in her kitchen, mud kitchen, a traditional mud kitchen. So how did you find her?
So I was traveling to Gurez again for a story, and I was curious to photograph the daily life there because I'd seen a couple of pictures from Gurez in the past. So I went to one of the houses, took permissions from one of the house owners. I went to photograph this traditional kitchen. I'd heard about it in the past, seen a couple of pictures, and that was the idea, to take a panorama of this traditional kitchen which still exists in 2025. Otherwise, all these things, the chula, the traditional way of living has gone. But it still exists in Gurez. And this is the last image from the border. So this image is of the wild tulips in South Kashmir. And this image is actually very close to my heart. This was the place where actually my father was born, South Kashmir. And he always wanted me to travel to South Kashmir to capture the spring of this space, this spot particularly. And he always spoke about it, but I never got a chance. And when he passed away in 2023, in 2024, I actually traveled to this spot to take the picture.
This was Sagarika Kissu with her colleague Hamad for The Print. Keep watching us for more such videos.